Welcome back, my beautiful people. Welcome back to another episode with Golden Gemz Media with yours truly, Mr. Wilson. But yes, hey, what's up? What's up? What's going on, my beautiful people? Welcome back. Welcome back, man. We here. Hey, it's another edition with Golden Gemz Media. You here with yours truly, Mr. Wilson. Hey, ain't it bittersweet? You know, God bless us with another day today. God gave us another day today, and He put me in front of you so I can talk a little bit of ish. You understand me? So, hey, sit back, relax, and let's talk. And I really do hope that you're ready to get all these gems, because what I got in store today for you, we're going to be talking about a little bit of Shedeur Sanders in the Cleveland Browns. We're going to be talking about Kenny Pickett getting traded and the Browns actually hearing us, the media, hearing us, the Shedeur crazy supporters, the Shedeur crazy bandwagon fans, the Shedeur. Anyway, and then we also going to be talking about Jerry Jones and Micah Parsons and why that boy Jerry don't want to pay that boy. But anyway, without further ado, welcome back. I appreciate y'all tuning in. I appreciate you always coming back and showing your boys some love. You understand me? But hey, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. You know, I love that we back. I love that I'm here with y'all, my beautiful people. I missed you. Without further ado, hold on. Before we start, I need you to do me one favor. Please do me one favor. Send this to your mama, your daddy, your best friend, friend of another friend, little sister, little Johnny, little Timmy, and don't forget about little Susie, because she stay down the street. So you got to make sure you send this to her. And you got to make sure she get it so that way she can tune in too. But send this to everybody. All right. But without further ado, hey, you read the title. You see what we finna be cooking with today. All right. So to make a long story short, to keep it short, simple, and sweet, we got to go ahead and hit on Shedeur Sanders and what's been going on. All right. I was going to come on here. I'm not going to lie to you. Before I just got the news that I got to my phone about Kenny Pickett being traded to the Las Vegas Raiders for a fifth-round pick, I was finna come on here and light them boys up again. I was finna go ahead and sing like a canary. I was finna go ahead and step on my step note, and I was finna go crazy. You feel me? I was finna hop on my soapbox right now, and I was finna go in on the Cleveland Browns. But it's okay, because I'm going to go in on the Cleveland Browns still, because they think they slick. But I'm gonna keep it gracious today. You feel me? I'm going to go in, but I'm only going to go in a little bit. You got to understand, man. The Cleveland Browns have actually did what they were supposed to do. They traded Kenny Pickett. Yes, the Cleveland Browns. The news has just came down upon us. The Cleveland Browns have traded Kenny Pickett to the Las Vegas Raiders. Wow. If I can I get an amen? Can I get a I was not expecting that? Because you got to understand, the reason why I wasn't expecting that, man, I really thought they was going to double down. I really thought that they was going to play in front of our face and let us believe that they was going to keep a quarterback who hasn't played in weeks, damn near a month, Kenny Pickett, who failed at his first stop. Yes, he was a first-round pick, but he failed when he played for the Steelers. Then he got cut and released by the Philadelphia Eagles. Yeah, he was a backup. Yeah, he played in the Super Bowl, but he caught the snap and just took a knee. So, yeah, he got a Super Bowl ring, but did he really contribute to it? Maybe a little bit. He's a backup quarterback. I can't take that away from him. But regardless of anything, I cannot believe that they actually traded that man. I can't believe it. Like, seriously, I cannot believe that they actually traded Kenny Pickett. Like, I'm kind of in shock, because I wasn't expecting them to do the right thing. I was not expecting the Cleveland Browns to do the right thing. But clearly, and I'm going to attest a few people for this, I think they heard us, man. I think they heard Shannon Sharp, Ocho Cinco, you feel me? Hoochman, I can't say his last name. And then I think they heard, you feel me, Skip Bayless. I think they heard, you feel me, Kurt Warner, a Hall of Fame quarterback. I think they heard Derek Carr, an NFL quarterback who's been playing for years. Because it was multiple quarterbacks who played in the NFL who called the NFL out on their BS. called the Cleveland Browns and Kevin Stefanski out on ABS. It was multiple NFL quarterbacks, including the Hall of Famer, Kurt Warner. I'm sorry, I'm a little excited, y'all. Kurt Warner, the Hall of Famer, called them out as well. And this is what I was going to lead with today, so I might as well, since I'm on it, let's talk about it. All right, before we hop on, my shock factor of Kenny Pickett getting traded, before we hop on what I was going to say originally when I hop on here, let's just go ahead and talk about this. And this is coming from a Hall of Fame quarterback who, once again, is a Hall of Fame quarterback who didn't let his eyes deceive him, just like we didn't let our eyes deceive us. You understand what I'm saying? So without further ado, let's talk about it, because you got to really understand that this is kind of crazy. This is kind of a little shocking. You feel me? Because Kurt Warner, a Hall of Fame quarterback, had this to say. I was really looking forward to the competition between Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders. In the last preseason game, I know it plays out like this sometimes, but a bummer that both didn't have the same ops, aka opportunity, to make plays. Dillon Gabriel played well again, but had good opportunities to make plays. Shedeur Sanders didn't have those same opportunities, so it was hard to make a much needed assessment. And I kind of paraphrased a little bit and kind of summed it up. But essentially, he said what we all said. Like, at the end of the day, we clearly saw with our own two eyes that Shedeur Sanders went out there with PE teachers. We clearly saw with our own eyes that Shedeur Sanders went out there with guys who essentially, like I said, if you want to look at my previous live, if you want to look at my previous video, I called it right. And I called it right down the middle. Because guess what ended up happening? Snoop Huntley, he was released, literally, I want to say not even 24 hours after that game. Snoop Huntley, when he went in there for that 2-minute drive, I guess, Kevin Stefanski, let's give it to him. Even though he a 5-year vet, even though he played for the Baltimore Ravens for like 3 seasons, even though he played and started in a playoff game, he still wanted to give him that 2-minute drive. But no, Kevin Stefanski, you ain't slick, baby. You ain't slick. Just because y'all traded Kenny Pickett, it seems like y'all doing the right thing. You ain't getting from under this. Don't get me wrong. I wholeheartedly and I appreciate the fact that the Cleveland Browns actually look like they want to win for a change. The Cleveland Browns actually look like they heard us. The Cleveland Browns actually did what the heck was right. Like, the Cleveland Browns doing what's right for a change. The Cleveland Browns actually looking like they want to win. The Cleveland Browns actually giving the people what they want and hearing the outcry. Because guess what? The NFL, they couldn't have it. ESPN, Stephen A. Smith, your Uncle Tom. Ryan Clark, your Uncle Tom. Yeah, I'm calling y'all out. Dan Orlowski, your Uncle Tom. Even though you ain't no Uncle Tom, because you rightfully so. You've been standing on your 10 toes. You don't like Shedeur, and we see it. But I was watching ESPN today, and I know I'm getting off topic a little bit, but I'm gonna swing back around. But I was watching ESPN today, and they had the nerve to get on there and pretend like we didn't see what we saw. They had the nerve to talk about Shedeur Sanders taking a 24-yard sack and taking another bad sack when he could have hit a man over across the middle. They had talked about 2 sacks that Shedeur Sanders had that was really like very bad plays. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, Shedeur Sanders played bad in his last preseason game. Don't get it twisted. Shedeur Sanders had a bad day in the office. And we understand that. We get that. But you have to understand that, dog, with him playing bad, you still should have gave him an opportunity to go out there with that 2-minute drill, especially if you wanted to develop your quarterback, especially if you wanted to see what he really had to do in that situation. After being pummeled, after being sacked, after having not a great outing, you still should have gave him the dignity to go out there and show what he had to do. Well, show what he was capable of doing, excuse me. You still should have gave him the opportunity. But it's okay that you didn't, because now you exposed. It's okay that you didn't, because now the Cleveland Browns, just because you traded Kenny Pickett, we ain't forget it just happened on Saturday. Kevin Stefanski, you ain't slick. Roger Goodell And probably some of them other NFL owners, hey, they really paying attention to what we're doing. Yeah. We got to stop this. We can't let them think that we really sabotaging him. We already, we didn't draft him in the first round, the second round, the third round, or the fourth round. We took him in the fifth round when he was a first round pick. All right, so I think everybody's kind of catching on to what we're doing. We got to kind of put a stop to this. So Cleveland, what the hell is his name? I can't think of the owner. Jimmy Haslam. Jimmy, you gotta trade Kenny Pickett. All right, because guess what? In the NFL, the best ability is availability. Kenny Pickett hasn't thrown a ball since July, and y'all was gonna keep him on y'all team. Y'all was gonna keep him, but you heard the people. It's so beautiful. You heard us. You heard a Hall of Fame quarterback in Kurt Warner come out and speak out. You heard Derek Carr come out and speak out. You heard a couple NFL players, even a player who plays for Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, an offensive lineman, came out and called the NFL out on ABS. NFL players who play in the league currently and former NFL players, Hall of Famers like Shannon Sharp, Ocho Cinco, they came out and they spoke up for Shedeur Sanders, just like me. They spoke up for that guy, and you couldn't deny it. Because if you would have kept Kenny Pickett like you really wanted to, boy, it would have been hell to pay. It would have been hell to pay. So, hey, Cleveland. The Cleveland Browns, wow. They actually did something right for a change. It's refreshing. Don't get me wrong, Cleveland. You still got 4 quarterbacks on your roster. But you didn't tell us which 4 quarterbacks you was going to keep. We knew you was going to keep 4 quarterbacks on the roster. You can't get rid of Deshaun. Deshaun, he just in no man's land, living his best life, collecting that 230 M's I gave him. So Deshaun Watson, we knew you wasn't gonna do nothing with him. You can't trade him. You can't do nothing with him. So he a quarterback on the roster, but obviously he inactive and he's on the injured reserve. So you still gotta pay him. He's still sitting over there chilling. But if you would have decided to keep Joe Flacco, Dylan Gabriel, and Kenny Pickett in front of Shedeur Sanders, 4 quarterbacks. Because you got to understand, 4 quarterbacks, that's a rarity in the NFL. You want to know how rare it is? Let me give you a couple facts and statistics. Only 5 teams since 2013, 5 teams in the NFL since 2013 have kept 4 quarterbacks on a 53-man roster to start the NFL season. Washington did it in 2013 when they had RG3 and Kirk Cousins taken in the same draft. They did it. I can't think of who was that starting quarterback that year, but they had 2 rookies, right? And they had 4 quarterbacks total, so they did it. The Jets in 2016 and 2020, they kept 4 quarterbacks. The Miami Dolphins in 2018, they kept 4 quarterbacks. And then the Saints in 2021, they kept 4 quarterbacks. So keeping 4 quarterbacks on your roster in the NFL, it's a rare thing to do. In Cleveland, what you did was too obvious. What you did was finna have the whole NFL in an uproar. So you did what was right. The Cleveland Browns, kudos to you for actually doing what's right for a change. Thank you. We appreciate you. Because you heard me. You heard Ocho Cinco. You heard everybody. You heard us. Because if you didn't hear us, it would have been hell to pay. A blind man could have saw what y'all was trying to do to Shedeur Sanders. But I feel like somebody, hey, Jimmy, come on, you owe us one, man. I know you want to keep Kenny Pickett. I know y'all really like him. Hey, Kevin Stefanski, we know you really like Kenny Pickett. But right now with Kurt Warner coming out, right now with Shannon Sharp coming out, right now with Derek Carr coming out, with the Kansas City Chiefs offensive lineman coming out, and other NFL players who playing currently in the NFL coming out, you couldn't keep Kenny Pickett after he hasn't played since July. Dog, You wanted to, but you couldn't because the storm was brewing. The storm was brewing. Yeah, TV numbers would have went down. Your jersey sales would have went down. It would have been hell to pay for the Cleveland Browns if they would have kept Kenny Pickett and would have kept Shedeur Sanders listed fourth on the depth chart. It would have been hell to pay. So the Cleveland Browns, once again, let me give you one more last clap for doing what the hell is right. Because if you wouldn't have done what was right, we would have been on you like white on rice. Because like I said, a blind man could have saw what you was trying to do to Shedeur Sanders. Kevin Stefanski, you ain't slick. Yeah, you could have did Huntley. You're saying you did Huntley a solid. Huntley got in there, had one completion, and really went 70 yards because they had a penalty. So you didn't want to see your young quarterback go out there, even though your young quarterback, that could have been possibly his last snap of the whole season. You wanted us to have that bitter taste in our mouth from seeing Shedeur Sanders take those bad sacks, have such a horrible day. But it's okay, because hindsight is now 2020. So Kevin Stefanski, Jimmy Haslam, you made up for your mistake that you was about to make. But we ain't blind because we saw what you were trying to do. So don't think you're slick. We saw what you were trying to do, Cleveland. But we appreciate you for doing what's right. So Shedeur Sanders. Hey, keep cooking, baby. Shedeur Sanders. It's time to keep powering up, my guy. Because your time will come this season. Because Sleepy Joe Flacco, we going to see his mobility not go anywhere. Sleepy Joe, we going to see. They throwing you out there to the wolves for a reason. The Cleveland Browns, first 4 games of the season. Actually, first 5 games. So if you don't know, the Cleveland Browns, first 5 games of the season. And why? I was okay with Shedeur sitting. I was totally fine with Shedeur not starting the season. Let's get that correct. Shedeur played bad, and I said that he played bad. But what happened to him was foul. And I had to call the Cleveland Browns and Kevin Stefanski out for that. So you have to understand that. I had to. Because as a man and as a black man in America, we got to stand up for ours. And Shedeur Sanders, guess what? He ours. Whether you want to agree with it or not. So understand, Cleveland Browns, thank you for doing what's right. But you had to do what's right because Kurt Warner, a Hall of Fame quarterback, came out and said something. Derek Carr, an NFL quarterback who played for years, came out and said something. An offensive lineman for the Kansas City Chiefs came out and said something about what y'all did to Shedeur Sanders. And then exactly what I said that they was going to do. They cut the 4 offensive linemen that was playing with Shedeur Sanders Saturday. They cut all of them besides one. Every single offensive lineman that was out there playing with Shedeur Sanders got cut the very next day. Every single offensive lineman that was out there with Shedeur Sanders got cut the very next day. How? Why? Including the quarterback that went in during that 2-minute drill. He got cut as well. So if you was going to cut Snoop Huntley, and if you was going to cut those 4 other players, how come, you feel me, you couldn't at least throw Shedeur Sanders out there with maybe the same tight end he threw to in the first preseason game versus the Carolina Panthers? How come you couldn't throw Shedeur Sanders out there with at least 1 or 2 of the offensive linemen who played on the second team, a third team who he played with? But instead, you put him out there with PE teachers. But it's okay, because now, guess what? That's in the past. We don't care about that anymore. It's okay. Because now, guess what? Joe Flacco, the pressure is on you now, dog. Joe Flacco, you came in when Deshaun Watson got hurt, right? You came in when Deshaun Watson got hurt 2 years ago, and you led the Cleveland Browns to a playoff game. You led them to about 5 or 6 straight victories. Joe Flacco, a couple years ago, that was immaculate. I was rooting for you, Joe, but you didn't have any expectations, Joe Flacco. Now you got expectations, baby. Now you finna be up. The Cleveland Browns, they first 4 to 5 games. Actually, I have to name their first 5 games. You got the Cincinnati Bengals. You got the Baltimore Ravens. You got the Green Bay Packers. You got the Detroit Lions. You got the Minnesota Vikings. And then you got the Pittsburgh Steelers. Boy. Joe Flacco, you got expectations now, my guy. Joe Flacco, you got expectations now, my guy. We saw what happened when you had expectations last year in Indianapolis. What happened? They ain't bring you back. So, Joe Flacco, since they ain't bring you back, what happened? You had expectations, didn't you, Joe? What happened with those expectations? You didn't meet those expectations, Sleepy Joe. So, Sleepy Joe, you got expectations now, my guy. And I thank God that you are there because now you're the vet in the room. Joe Flacco, you're a great guy. Like, I really feel like you got a genuine heart. I really feel like you're a good, sincere person. So none of my shots, none of my Shedeur love is hate for Joe Flacco. When I call him Sleepy Joe, don't think I'm being disrespectful, but I'm just calling a spade a spade. Joe Flacco is 40 plus years old, dog. We supposed to be worrying about Cleveland Browns, the future of the Cleveland Browns, not the past. Joe Flacco, what you did 2 years ago when Kevin Stefanski won Coach of the Year, that was immaculate. You leading them to the playoff game, but what happened when you had gotten that playoff game, when you had those expectations, Joe Flacco? You threw a couple picks and you fumbled a few times, Joe Flacco, in that playoff game because you had expectations, baby. So now, Joe Flacco, we got expectations for you when you hop on this field, baby, because you finna go against the Bengals in the first game of the season, the Ravens in the second game of the season, the Green Bay Packers in the third game of the season, the Detroit Lions in the fourth game of the season, the Minnesota Vikings in the fifth game of the season, and then the Pittsburgh Steelers in the sixth. I don't know. I'm getting off track with my numbers. You know, boys was never good at math. But seriously though, with Joe Flacco and him coming out with these first 1 to 6 games, I think that is a great thing. I think now in hindsight, like, all right, let me kind of come down to earth. I'm not mad anymore because Cleveland Browns are actually doing what's right now. So now I'm going to take a step back. All my slander that I was going to come in and throw at Kevin Stefanski, at Jimmy Haslam, before all this, before they just did what's right, before they just traded Kenny Pickett to the Las Vegas Raiders for what number pick did they trade him for? Hold on, my bad, y'all. Let me see. So they traded. So Kenny Pickett was traded for a 2026 5th-round pick. They drafted Shedeur Sanders in the 5th round, and they just traded Kenny Pickett in the 5th round. Kenny Pickett was up there being a great teammate, boy. He had a hamstring injury. They kept on telling, nah, it's okay. We're going to keep 4 quarterbacks. We're going to keep you in the wings. But then they heard the outcry. Then they heard the other NFL players. Then they heard Hall of Famers talking and saying and calling a spade a spade. So guess what? Cleveland, you didn't have no other choice. Cleveland, you had your own fans coming for your neck. So you didn't have no other choice but to do what's right. And everybody keep commenting. We gonna talk. And hey, Dylan Gabriel, we gonna touch on him in a second. And I appreciate you, Nate, saying that Dylan Gabriel, gonna come out on top. I appreciate that. We're gonna hit the comments at the end of this video. So if you want to stay until the end of this video, that's a great thing. But the Raiders, they should have traded for Shedeur Sanders. Yes, that is a fact. But guess what? The Cleveland Browns, they're not dumb. They're not stupid. They know what they got in Shedeur Sanders, dog. And this is proof. Because if they didn't believe in Shedeur Sanders, if they didn't see any potential in Shedeur Sanders, he would have been goddamn traded just like Kenny Pickett. Or they would have kept Kenny Pickett instead of Shedeur Sanders. But the best ability in the NFL is availability. And Kenny Pickett, you ain't playing since July. You ain't even playing that one preseason game. So we can't do nothing with you. And if they would have kept you, the writing would have been on the wall for the NFL. And hell would have been rained upon them. I promise you. It was a call put in to Jimmy Haslam and the GM and Kevin Stefanski. Y'all better trade that boy Kenny Pickett. They own what we doing. Yeah, we was coming. All right. But anyway, making a long story short, my bad. I'm rambling now. But y'all see I'm spinning facts, though. At the end of the day, I have no hate against Joe Flacco. I have no hate against Dylan Gabriel. I just wanted a fair opportunity. Because what Kevin Stefanski did, he told us that this was a competition, and it wasn't a competition, dog. Shedeur Sanders never received the first team rep all year. Not all year. All summer. All preseason. Shedeur Sanders did not receive not one first-team rep. Fact check me. Go look at the news articles that came out from every preseason game, every preseason practice, the joint practices. Shedeur Sanders never got a first-team rep. Dillon Gabriel, Kenny Pickett, and Joe Flacco all got first-team reps, all got second-team reps. Shedeur Sanders only got second-team reps when they tried to throw him to the Wolves the first preseason game, and he went out there and fucking balled because he's a gamer, because he's like that. If the Cleveland Browns didn't believe in Shedeur Sanders, if the Cleveland Browns didn't see potential in Shedeur Sanders, they just would have traded him just like they did Kenny Pickett. Right or wrong, y'all? Right or wrong? Come on, baby. Talk to me nice. You feel me? So at the end of the day, you got to understand, a blind man could see what they was talking about. A blind man could see what the Cleveland Browns was saying and doing. A blind man could see what was going on. You understand me, man? So you got to respect it, man. You got to respect the game. All right. So at the end of the day, going back to what I was saying, the depth chart going to go like this. Joe Flacco, he's going to start the season. Then when Joe Flacco ultimately gets hurt or he loses and goes 0 for 3, 0 for 4, because, bro, you finna go against the Cincinnati Bengals, who coming out for vengeance, who played their starters in the preseason. They've been off the slow starts all for the past 2-3 years. They've been wasting Joe Burrow's prime for a little bit now. So the Cincinnati Bengals, that's already a loss. The Baltimore Ravens, that's a loss. The Green Bay Packers, I'm not a real big Jordan Love fan, but the Green Bay Packers, they got a team now. With Jordan Love, they got a nice little defense over there. You know, man, the Green Bay Packers, I'm a Chicago Bears fan, and I got to admit, they got a little something brewing over there. You feel me? So I can't hate on the Green Bay Packers. So Joe Flacco potentially can go 0 for 3, 0 for 4. And then they got the Detroit Lions. That's another L. Then the Minnesota, like, Joe Flacco going to be in and be out. And it's a great thing that they're starting Joe Flacco. And I pray that he at least is healthy through like maybe the first 3-4 games, if I'm being honest. Like, I really do. Because if he's healthy through the first 3-4 games, then Dillon Gabriel will come after that because they want to see Dillon Gabriel. Dillon Gabriel, you got to understand, the reason why they've given Dillon Gabriel all these picks, the reason why they treated Shedeur Sanders the way they treated him, because Shedeur Sanders, you got to understand, he was still a 5th-round pick, whether we like it or not. You understand? He was still taken in the 5th round. So with Shedeur Sanders being taken in the 5th round, they treated him like a 5th-round draft pick, and it was evident. They really wanted Dillon Gabriel. So Dillon Gabriel, he is going to be the 2nd quarterback on the depth chart. Shedeur Sanders will now be the 3rd quarterback on the depth chart. But with this uphill battle, they got to play this is the last time I'm going to say it, y'all. Then we're going to be about to move on in a little bit. But you got to understand, the Cleveland Browns, they about to play the Bengals. They about to play the Baltimore Ravens, the Green Bay Packers, the Detroit Lions, the Minnesota Vikings, and then the Pittsburgh Steelers. Oh, my goodness. All those teams are probably going to make the playoffs this year. All those teams were very good last year. So it's an uphill battle. So I'm okay with Sleepy Joe going first and eventually getting brushed to the side. I'm okay with Dillon Gabriel getting his shot after that, because then we're going to see if you really about what you say you about. Because you've been looking good. But then again, Kevin Stefanski has scripted you a very great script in the preseason. But y'all got to understand this. The preseason is just like sunshine and rainbows. The preseason is just fluff. It's nothing really going on. No defense is really showing what they can do. They're not really throwing what they're going to do during the season. And no offense is throwing and doing what they're going to do during the season. It's a dress rehearsal. It's a glorified scrimmage during the preseason. That's what it is. So when the NFL season starts officially and it gets here, and now that the Cleveland Browns have done what was right, Shedeur Sanders going to be sent there. It's like this. Going to be chilling. My bad. I almost fell, y'all. Oh, my goodness. Anyway, but Shedeur Sanders is about to be sitting back chilling. You feel me? Shedeur Sanders about to be living his best life. All right. And with Shedeur Sanders living his best life, sitting back, watching Joe Flacco get thrown to the Wolves, then watching Dylan Gabriel get thrown to the Wolves. So who you think gonna come in towards the end of the season and ball out? Poetic justice, baby. Watch what I tell you. So Shedeur Sanders, sit back, relax, and get your popcorn ready, baby. Because they saving you right now. And I appreciate that. Because Shedeur Sanders will be the future of the Cleveland Browns. Mark my words. And it's about to be evident. Unless Dylan Gabriel, hey, I'm not saying I don't want Dylan Gabriel to do well. I'm not wishing bad on Sleepy Joe. I'm not wishing bad on Dylan Gabriel. But they both going to have an uphill battle to climb. These goddamn balloons and shit. Pay no attention to that anytime that happens anyway. But seriously, though, it's about to be an uphill battle, man, for any of these starting quarterbacks. Dylan Gabriel, Joe Flacco, and Shedeur Sanders. Thank God that you number 3 on the depth chart. Thank God that the Cleveland Browns actually did what they were supposed to do. So, yeah, we're going to talk. We're going to talk. But now, moving on. All right. And then also my NFL sleeper team. So it's, hey, if you want to, stay tuned because I got some NFL sleepers. I see my Bears fans in the chat going crazy. I'm gonna talk to y'all in a second, all right? Because you're gonna have to hear some of Mr. Wilson's sleepers, you feel me, for this season. But before we get into all that, we gotta talk about Jerry Jones because that boy is a bad boy, and we gotta talk about Micah Parsons because what is gonna happen? Oh my goodness. Okay, so giving you a little background if you don't know what's going on. Essentially, Micah Parsons is on a Hall of Fame trajectory. Micah Parsons is that guy. He's definitely by far the best defensive player on the Dallas Cowboys. And without Micah Parsons, the Dallas Cowboys defense is garbage. Is but trash. like I'm just being honest with you. If the Dallas Cowboys do not sign Micah Parsons, you might as well write their season off. Now, don't get me wrong. Dak Prescott, CD Lamb, that boy George Pickens, they gonna do their thing on offense, but you're still gonna need a defense. You feel me? So Jerry Jones, you are pulling a hell of a publicity stunt right now, but Micah Parsons does not appreciate that. Jerry Jones, you paid Tony Romo with no problem. You paid Jason Witten with no problem. You paid Troy Aikman with no problem. But when it comes to quarterbacks who or not quarterbacks, let's say other players who maybe have a different color of skin, or maybe, you just like the, ruffle their feathers a little bit and don't want to give them their money right away. Like Dak Prescott, like Zeke Elliott once upon a time, like Emmitt Smith once upon a time. Yeah, your boy knows his history. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm just throwing some names out there. But Jerry Jones, the one thing I can say about Jerry Jones, you're consistent. You're persistent. You stick to what you know. You're a bad boy. You built that franchise into one of the most expensive franchises in the world, if not the most expensive franchise in the world. You built a $10 billion franchise, but you haven't been to a Super Bowl in over 30 plus years. You haven't been to an NFC championship game in damn near 25 plus years. You only won 2 playoff games since the last time you've been to the Super Bowl. Jerry Jones, you're the owner and you're the GM. So if you're the owner, Jerry, and you're the GM, and you haven't been to the Super Bowl in almost 30 years, you only have been to an NFC championship game maybe once, if I believe, or actually I think 0 times in those 30 years. You only have won 2 playoff games in those 30 years. What's the common denominator in that, y'all? I'll wait. Anyway, so let's talk about it. Micah Parsons, he's standing on 10 toes. Micah Parsons, he showed up to the start of camp, and essentially him and Jerry Jones had a meeting face to face. And in this meeting, they supposedly agreed to terms to make Micah Parsons one of the highest paid non-quarterbacks in NFL, or the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history. Excuse me. So with them doing that and making him the highest paid, or trying to make him one of the highest paid defensive player, non-quarterbacks in NFL history, they made that deal in a meeting where Michael Parsons came into the meeting just expecting them to talk about leadership. Michael Parsons came into that meeting without his agent. Michael Parsons came into that meeting in good faith just to talk to the GM, the owner, and, talk about leadership. But Jerry Jones proceeded to take that meeting and talk to Michael Parsons about the contract to try to make him the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history, supposedly. Michael Parsons, after that meeting, and after him and Jerry supposedly shook hands and agreed on terms, Michael Parsons essentially told Jerry, okay, now talk to my agent, so that way you can sign the paperwork and go from there, right? Right. But what happened? Michael Parsons' agent looked at that contract and he said, oh, no. Micah, whoa. This ain't it. This is a 360 deal. You know what a 360 deal, y'all? You know what a 360 deal is, y'all? Go ahead, type it in on Google. It's in rap terms. Type in what's a 360 deal, and you'll understand what I'm saying. But essentially, Jerry Jones, he even came out publicly. He talked to Stephen A. Smith about it. He's been on like his little, I want to say, what is it? He's been on his, what's the word I'm looking for? His, I want to say TV run, or not publicity run. My goodness, it's at the tip of my tongue. Anyway, he's been on his media run. There we go. He's been on his media run because they're promoting, I don't know if y'all seen it, the Making a Dynasty or whatever the hell it's called on Netflix with the Dallas Cowboys. They've been on the run talking about all that and living their best lives. And Jerry Jones has been going around talking about that and also talking about Michael Parsons and their contract. And Jerry Jones proceeded to say that him and Michael Parsons had a deal, and Michael Parsons tried to bring his agent in, which anybody would do, because that's how business is done, right? If I don't know, so if Mr. Wilson, if he doesn't know how to maybe read the legal obligations sometimes in a contract, ironically enough, right? If he doesn't know how to read, certain things in a contract, that's what you have an agent for. That's why you have a lawyer, right? Right. Jerry Jones knows that. So Jerry Jones, yes, you and Michael Parsons maybe shook on a deal or shook hands on a deal to potentially make him one of the highest paid non-quarterbacks. Yes. But then he wanted his agent to proceed and talk to you about, hey, let's figure out these numbers. Let's make it right. Right. Let's make it make sense. Correct. So Jerry Jones, what's the problem? Why don't you want to talk to Michael Parsons' agent? Why don't you want to get your best defensive player signed? If you really about winning a Super Bowl, if you really about trying to see your team win, why won't you pay that boy Micah and talk to his agent and do business the right way? Why are you trying to talk to a player who doesn't know anything about contracts, whose only job is to play football, whose only job is to go pummel the man in front of him? That's why you have an agent. That's why you have lawyers as NFL players. Some NFL players, don't get me wrong, like Lamar Jackson, like Bobby Wagner. You feel me? Like some of the examples, like Richard Sherman even. They represented themselves because they were very knowledgeable. And they probably had someone else look over the contract as well. And they wanted to not give somebody that 2% or that 5% of that contract that they were going to get. So yes, some NFL players represent themselves, but Michael Parsons is not trying to represent themselves. Michael Parsons has an agent. So, Jerry, why are you trying to have a publicity stunt? Why aren't you trying to pay your best player? The Cowboys play next Thursday. That's like in 9-10 days, Jerry. If you was really serious, you would have been paid my guy. If you really wanted the Super Bowl, you would have been gave him his money. Because now Micah Parsons hasn't practiced all summer. He's had a back injury. Back tight. Hurts. Which is a hell of a play because guess what? When you go to the training room, y'all, just for future references, they can't check your back. Yeah, they can run an MRI, but it's your back. They can't really tell you what's wrong with your back. I'm just throwing it out there for future references. So, Micah, great play. But, yeah, Micah Parsons, he got a back injury. He want that contract. He ain't stepping on that field without that contract, without that money. But now, Jerry Jones, with him going online, him going to Stephen A. Smith, him going to all these different outlets and telling them about how he was trying to play Micah Parsons in front of his face and how he's not trying to talk to Micah Parsons' agent after agreeing to a so-called handshake contract with Micah Parsons. Why won't you just do us right, Jerry, and just talk to his agent? But Jerry likes the show. This is why every single year, y'all Dallas Cowboy fans, we winning the Super Bowl this year. We going to make the playoffs. Dak Prescott, the best quarterback in it. This is why y'all Cowboys fans are delusional. And this is why the Eagles next Thursday is going to do what they got to do to y'all. But anyway, Jerry Jones, I believe in this situation, and I hope I explained it in a way that y'all can understand, but I explained it in a way that, hopefully, you do understand it. But if you're not, then you just got to go find another video. But essentially, though, seriously, Jerry Jones, you're wrong, man. Micah Parsons has an agent. Yes, you and Micah Parsons, y'all talked about the contract. Y'all had an agreement. But at the end of the day, Micah Parsons doesn't do the legal stuff. Micah Parsons hired an agent to do a job for a reason. Micah Parsons' number one job is to be healthy and to play and go crazy on that football field. But now you got Micah Parsons with an injured back. Now you got Micah Parsons hasn't played a lick of football all summer. Now you got Micah Parsons sitting here not even wanting to play for the Dallas Cowboys anymore and requesting the trade because you want to play in front of his face and you don't want to talk to his agent. Why? Why make it difficult, Jerry? Jerry, why you always make it difficult with us? And when I say us, some of y'all know what I mean. Call a spade, baby. But yeah. Next Thursday, I just saw somebody put in the comments. Next Thursday, guess what? Yeah, them Eagles, they're going to put BTA, belt to ass. You understand me? So it's cool. Micah Parsons, hey, stand on 10 toes, man. Don't let Jerry play in front of your face. And if I'm you, honestly, I wouldn't even go back and play for the Dallas Cowboys. Because why does Jerry have to do this every single year? You already have the richest franchise in the world. You already get publicity for not doing anything. You haven't won since the 90s. Before I was born. I was born in the 90s, but you feel me? But they won. Anyway. But seriously, though, they haven't won since the 90s, dog. Oh, man, that's crazy. That is crazy. They haven't won since the 90s, man. They haven't won since the 90s. Jerry, don't you think you should maybe switch your routine up? Don't you think you should maybe do right by your best player or best players instead of having Dak Prescott play out his contract, having Zeke Elliott train in Cabo, having Emmitt Smith hold out during camp years ago? Come on, Jerry, it gets old, man. You getting old. And guess what, Jerry? y'all probably won't win another playoff game or make it to another Super Bowl or make it to an NFC champion. Actually, nah, y'all gonna win a playoff game. I really believe the Dallas Cowboys gonna shock some people because they're gonna have a hell of an offense this year. And I really believe Jerry Jones is gonna come through and pay Micah Parsons. But at the end of the day, it don't take all this. It don't. If we're being honest, it doesn't. But Jerry, do what you do. Because in your lifetime, guess what? You're gonna be bye-bye next time the Dallas Cowboys actually win. I'm just being honest. And I hope that's not the case. I hope that you are alive. Maybe they'll see the Dallas Cowboys win a championship, but I don't foresee it. If you keep acting the way you acting, Jerry, yeah, it ain't gonna happen. Just like you did with Jimmy Johnson. You ran Jimmy Johnson. The Dallas Cowboys probably could have been the first team to win 3 straight Super Bowls. The Dallas Cowboys probably could have been the first team to have a dynasty, really, before the Patriots, had started their dynasty. The Dallas Cowboys could have been them, you feel me? But Jerry Jones wanted the attention. Jerry Jones drove out the head coach in Jimmy Johnson, who basically built the Dallas Cowboys in the 90s to what they were and why they won 2 straight Super Bowls. He pushed him out because Jerry Jones wanted to be the center of attention. Because Jerry Jones wanted to be the puppet master in front of everybody's face. Jerry. Will you ever learn? Anyway. That's enough about Jerry Jones. I'm getting tired and exhausted from just saying his name. All right, so Micah, I hope they trade you, even though I know they're not. I think they're going to just offer you a big bag. And if I'm you, hey, don't take a 5-year deal. Don't take a 4-year deal. Take like a 3-year or 2-year deal so you up out of there in a couple of years, but you get your guaranteed money. All right? So, Micah, get your guaranteed money. Get up out of there in a couple of years or stand on your 10 toes. You feel me? Stand on business and just, don't play for him this year and make him trade you. Because Jerry Jones is saying, I own your rights for the next 2 years. Because guess what Jerry Jones really saying? Before I move on off this topic, this is why Jerry Jones standing on business, how he's standing on business, and I respect it. But at the end of the day, Jerry, why? Jerry Jones has Michael Parsons under contract for another 3 years. He has him under contract for this year, and then he can franchise tag him next year and the year after that. So technically, Michael Parsons is on the books for the Cowboys for the next 3 years. And that's the unfortunate thing that happens in the NFL. Because when you sign an NFL contract, guess what? The stupid NFLPA, and that's a whole nother conversation. I'm not trying to even get into all that. I'm not trying to get into all that. But to make a long story short, Michael Parsons is on the books for another 3 years, and Jerry Jones doesn't have to pay him this year. He doesn't have to pay him next year. He doesn't have to pay him the year after that. That's why Jerry Jones kind of standing the way he's standing, because he's like, Micah, I really don't have to pay you. But Micah is on a Hall of Fame trajectory. Micah deserves to be paid. Micah is your best defensive player. So pay him, just like everybody else that gets paid after they perform for 1, 2, 3 years in the league. That's how it goes, man. So, yes, Jerry, you have his rights. You own him for the next 2 or 3 years, basically. But why? Jerry, you worth $10+ billion, dog. Pay the man. Or just trade him. Now we moving on. All right. Because I was only trying to make this podcast short today. All right. Now, touching on the last topic of the day, because I do got some other business to attend to. As y'all can see, also, if you don't know, Mr. Wilson is on the move. All right. So anytime you see this backdrop, that just means we're not in the studio. All right. So the studio, when you see the original backdrop that y'all have seen in the last few videos, that's my studio. I also will be streaming on another YouTube channel here soon whenever I'm starting to do. I save all that information for later. But I'm going to be doing some other stuff on another YouTube channel. But also, anytime you see this background, just know I'm on the move. All right, I have my equipment at my studio, and then I have my road equipment. So this is my road equipment. So anytime you see this background, just know Mr. Wilson on the road. He on the move. All right. But anyway, all right. Moving on. Now, my sleeper teams in the NFL for the 2025 to 2026 season. All right. What y'all been waiting for? The Chicago Bears coming up first. All right. So first sleeper team that I'm expecting to do a lot of big things this year is no other than the hometown city, the Chicago Bears. Caleb Williams. Hey, I'm expecting you to do big things this year, baby. Caleb Williams. We done built that offense around you. We done got you an offensive-minded head coach. Caleb Williams. Ain't no excuse this year, baby. Ain't no excuse. I'm sorry, y'all. This mic is kind of you see this is the road mic, so you see it's going to look crazy. But anyway, but yeah, so Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears. I'm expecting big things from y'all this season. Caleb Williams, you got the weapons, man. You got DeAndre Swift, you got Doomsday, you got DJ Moore, you got we got weapons. We got weapons in Chicago, and then that defense, man. They looked pretty good last year too. We got Johnson over there. The Chicago Bears might be pretty good this year. So yes, that's why they coming in first on my sleeper teams. Bear down, baby. So Caleb Williams, I'm expecting you to do big things this year. I'm expecting you to hopefully potentially win a Super Bowl. At least not this year, but eventually down the road. But Caleb Williams, there's no excuse for you not to take care of business this year. Caleb Williams, there's no excuse for you not to really be that guy this year. You have an offensive-minded head coach now, and Ben Johnson, who we took away from the Detroit Lions. Ben Johnson has been tearing up the NFL for the Detroit Lions for the last couple seasons, and he deserved a head coach opportunity, and he's gotten one now. And now Caleb Williams, he's groomed you. We've heard the stories about you going and having ups and downs during training camp this year, but that's on purpose because he's putting all that pressure on you, so that way when you get to the games, it's a lot easier. See, that's the one thing I've always appreciated. That's the one thing with sports, in particular football. In any sport that you play, young fellas, listen up. Practice must always be harder than the games. You must practice at 1,000 miles per hour because you want to mess up during practice. You want to go 1,000 miles and exhaust yourself during practice because that's what's going to make the game when you get out there on game day that much easier. So Caleb Williams, we heard about the pressure that Ben Johnson put on you this summer. We heard about you struggling. You feel me? And then finally coming along those last 2 preseason games, the last about week or two. That's how it's supposed to be. You grooming. He grooming you into a man, baby. He getting you ready to take off and fly. You feel me? Bear down this year. You feel me? Dang, y'all gonna have me pull out my Bears onesie in a little bit, man. Y'all gonna have me on here like Travis Hunter for the first game of the season. Actually, first game of the season, I'm gonna be live streaming. First game of the season, I'm gonna live stream. I'm gonna put on my onesie and we gonna bear down. I already said it. It's done. All right. My sleeper team this year, hometown Chicago Bears, Caleb Williams. I know camp was hard, but you got plenty of weapons. You got a fucking hell of a defense. You got an offensive-minded head coach. And it's time to go ahead and take care of business this year. I don't want to say too much about the Chicago Bears because I know what they're going to do. But just know, that's my first sleeper team. Second sleeper team, Sean Payton. If you know who Sean Payton coached for, the Denver Broncos. Bo Nix, hey, last year you looked good, boy. You looked good. The Denver Broncos got a solid defense. The Denver Broncos have weapons on offense. The Denver Broncos took a nice leap last year with a rookie quarterback that was unexpected. The Denver Broncos looked damn good towards the end of the season last year. The Denver Broncos even made the playoffs last year, if I'm not mistaken. Didn't the Denver Broncos make the playoffs last year? Did they? Somebody fact check me. Somebody look it up real quick. Somebody, maybe my memory doesn't serve me correct. But hold on. Actually, let me just check. Hold on. Regular season. Hold on. Playoff. Did the Denver Broncos make the playoffs last year? Yeah, they did. See, sometimes Mr. Wilson be tripping because I be knowing everything, but sometimes I be like, nah, that's not right. But sometimes, hey, this is why it goes back. Trust yourself, trust your knowledge, and trust what you know. But anyway, yeah, the Denver Broncos, they made the playoffs last year. The Denver Broncos made the playoffs last year with a rookie. The Denver Broncos had a solid defense last year. Bo Nix is now coming into his second season, and with the head coach, Sean Payton, he's not going to let Bo Nix fall into a sophomore slump. Sean Payton is going to make sure that boy, Bo Nix, is ready. Sean Payton going to make sure that they really have a fucking great season this year. They got J.K. Dobbins. They got who else they got over there? They got Marvin Mims. They got Cortland Sutton. Oh my goodness, they got some weapons over there for the Denver Broncos, boy. Yeah, Bo Nix, you're gonna be good this year. So my second sleeper team, the Denver Broncos, and it's because they made the playoffs yet last year. And last year they did it with a rookie. And Sean Payton is a hell of a fucking head coach, man. I like Sean Payton a lot. I really do. I really do. He's a player's head coach. He's stern. He's strict. And he's a great offensive mind, man. Look what he did with Drew Brees after all those years. And now he has a young quarterback in Bo Nix, who I believe in, who is very well experienced. You feel me? And at least coming from college. And then he had a good rookie season. Hopefully he doesn't take a year. The one thing I'm scared about is the sophomore slump. And hopefully he doesn't take a step back this year. But with that head coach Sean Payton and that defense they got and the offensive weapons he has on offense, they're gonna be fine, man. They're gonna be fine. So second team, I don't want to hit on them too much, but I'm just throwing them out there. Second team, Denver Broncos. Second sleeper team. All right. And now, last but not least, the goddamn Las Vegas Raiders. Ashton Genty, Geno Smith. Nah, let me stop. All right, but seriously though, it's kind of ironic that the Las Vegas Raiders, they just traded for Kenny Pickett, and they are my sleeper team, my last coming in third. I do have another sleeper team, but I don't want to say who they are right now. So I'm gonna say that for the next episode, because the next episode that we talk about, I'll say it at the end of this video, we got to talk about the WNBA and what's going on with Caitlin Clark, because there's some things that y'all ain't seeing that I know, but we're gonna talk about that. All right, we're gonna talk about that next episode. So what's tomorrow? Tuesday? Yeah, we might come back tomorrow for a live stream, or we might save it for later on this week. I'll let y'all know. But anyway, my last sleeper team, the Las Vegas Raiders. All right, Ashton Genty, he's going he rookie of the year candidate. I would have said Shedeur Sanders, but he's not starting the season. Ashton Genty, I'm expecting big things. Ashton Genty looked like a beast during the preseason. And yeah, it was a preseason, but Ashton Genty, came in third in the Heisman race, or second in the Heisman race. Top 10 pick. I'm expecting big things from him. New head coach over there with the Las Vegas Raiders. And God damn, why am I Pete Carroll? I don't know. I was drawing a blank on his name for a second. But Pete Carroll, Geno Smith. I like Geno. He played for the Seattle Seahawks, and he did his thing. He came back and really asserted himself. Tom Brady, he one of the owners over there for the Las Vegas Raiders. So, hey, I got to be a little biased. You feel me? I like Pete Carroll. He's a player's coach. He's a great dude. He messed up in the Super Bowl a couple years ago, not giving it to Marshawn Lynch, but that's a story for another day. And then too, hey, it helped my boy Brady get that ring. So Pete Carroll, I appreciate you, baby. But nah, man, I really think the Las Vegas Raiders, they got a solid defense. With them getting Ashton Genty, they have a few weapons on offense as well. Here, let me just name a few, because I can't think of this. What's his name? I'm sorry, y'all. It's getting kind of late. Mr. Wilson drawing a blank. But now that they got Kenny Pickett as a backup quarterback, they're gonna be just fine. Now I'm playing. But nah, man, the Raiders, they got some talent over there, man. And I believe with the new mindset that Pete Carroll is gonna be, he gonna run the hell out of the ball. That's why they got Ashton Genty. They're going to run the hell out of the ball. They're going to be physical. They're going to be aggressive. They're going to play snout, tough-nosed defense, and really it's going to be a great thing to see with the Las Vegas Raiders this year. I really expect big things from them. I'm expecting them to really get off to a strong start. All right. Las Vegas Raiders, that's my third sleeper team. And I would say another sleeper team, I was going to throw the Cincinnati Bengals out there, but ain't nobody sleeping on them. We just waiting for them to not keep on wasting Joe Burrow prime. So that's my other, honorable mention. Cincinnati Bengals, we know what they got. Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow, Higgins. Anyway, Bengals, do what y'all supposed to do. All right? Do what y'all supposed to do at the end of the day. All right? But, so basically, y'all, that sums up today. We almost already at an hour for the stream. My last stream was 2 hours. I really wanted to come on here, just set the record straight about Shedeur. But before I got on here to set the record straight about Shedeur Sanders, the biggest news of the night was that boy Pickett getting traded to the Las Vegas Raiders, and the Cleveland Browns actually doing what's right. So if you want to see me comment in my commentary about what all happened as far as that, feel free to rewind the video, check it out. I think I brought up a lot of good points, and said a lot of good things. But as far as Shedeur Sanders, just sit back, baby. Just sit back, relax. Your time is gonna come. You're gonna get your opportunity. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. Because Kenny Pickett, he gonna fall out. He ain't gonna be nothing. And he's already traded and gone. Sleepy Joe Flacco, guess what? You got an uphill battle. You got expectations, baby. You got the Cincinnati Bengals, the Baltimore Ravens, the Green Bay Packers. Boy. I don't even want to get into it again. But Dylan Gabriel, after the gauntlet that Sleepy Joe go through, they're going to throw you to the Wolves too. And we're going to see if you really about it. Because if you notice during the preseason, I ain't say this early, but if you notice during the preseason, that boy Dylan Gabriel really didn't throw no passes beyond 10, 15 yards. Besides when it was a busted coverage by the second and third stringers that he was playing against. Just throwing it out there. Because just like y'all said, Shedeur was playing against second and third stringers after his first preseason game. So was Dylan Gabriel. Dylan Gabriel really didn't throw that many passes over 10 and 15 yards during the preseason. And it was only preseason. When the defenses aren't really doing anything. They ain't really blitzing like they supposed to be blitzing. They ain't really disguising like they supposed to be disguising. I'm just throwing it out there. Just saying. But anyway, Dylan Gabriel, we're going to see what you got to do. Dylan Gabriel, we're going to see what you got. We're going to see what you got. Shedeur Sanders, you third on the depth chart, baby. But the rejected will be respected. So wait your turn. Let Dylan Gabriel, Sleepy Joe, get thrown to the Wolves. And then when that time come, baby, you're going to be just fine. But anyway, man, yeah. I think that's it, man. I think that's it. I really wanted to talk about the WNBA, but I'm going to say that for the next episode. We'll hit on that because I got a lot of stuff to get off my chest about Caitlin Clark and them girls. You got girls in the WNBA saying they don't want to play back-to-backs and worrying about player safety. The fuck? Then you got Caitlin Clark who had a groin injury. Then she had another groin. She got a bone bruise in the ankle. Anyway, the WNBA is kind of a little up and down. I like talking about the WNBA. You can fact check me. I've always been talking about the WNBA, so we're going to bring them back to the spotlight. We're going to be talking about the girls, and then, of course, when the NBA season starts, we're going to be talking about that during the football season. But, it's football season right now. It's football season, baby. So, hey, it's a beautiful thing, man. It's a beautiful thing. God is so good. God is the greatest. All glory to him. To all my young pups out there, man, I appreciate y'all tuning in. To all the Cleveland Brown fans, I appreciate y'all, showing love. But yes, the rejected will be respected, baby. I promise you that. Because Mr. Wilson was once rejected. But Mr. Wilson is always respected. So the rejected is going to get respected. Shedeur Sanders, the rejected is always going to get respected. The Cleveland Browns, once again, thank you for doing what's right. Because if you didn't, we would have been on you like white on rice. Because Mr. Wilson was preparing to go a whole different way with this podcast tonight. But God is good. God is great. And thank God I didn't have to go off. So thank you, Cleveland, for doing what's right. Thank you to my supporters. Thank y'all for blowing up the comments tonight. It was amazing, beautiful thing to see. Shedeur Sanders, you're going to get your time. Micah, stand on business. Don't let Jerry Jones play in front of your face. Take a 2 to 3 year contract, sign it, get out of there in 2-3 years, or, hey, just make them trade you, or just wait to be traded, whichever you prefer. But Jerry Jones, stop playing in front of Michael face, man. Talk to his agent. Do what's right. Sleeper team, Chicago Bears, number 1. Chicago Bears, watch what they do this year. Yes, we in a tough division, but I feel like the Detroit Lions going to take a step back this year without Ben Johnson. I feel like the Green Bay Packers, of course, they're going to always be in the running. And then the Minnesota Vikings, I think it's still, we still got to see what they got. We still got to see what they got because, with J.J. McCarthy, he coming, after that ACL injury, that season-ending injury or meniscus that he had last year, and he didn't play all season. And then, they still got Justin Jefferson over there. They still got a whole bunch of weapons in Minnesota. So Minnesota is going to be interesting. The Bears are still going to be playing in a tough division, but I got them as my number one sleeper team. And we're going to watch the Chicago Bears do their thing this year. Caleb Williams, hey, we got plenty of weapons. You got Ben Johnson. You got all them weapons on offense. You got a hell of a defense. All right. No excuses this year, Caleb. But, yeah, that goes without saying. All right. Yours truly, Mr. Wilson, appreciates you. He loves you. Make sure you like, subscribe. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. I appreciate y'all for hanging out. All right. It's a beautiful thing, man. Seeing y'all blow up the comments is a beautiful thing, just getting back in front of y'all, man. Because this is a passion. This is what I love. This is, what God has, placed me back to doing. He works in mysterious ways, man. And Mr. Wilson has a lot in store. I got a lot up my sleeve that I haven't even scratched the surface yet with all the things that I have planned. So it's just the beginning. It is just the beginning. It is a beautiful thing. If you want to watch my coverage and watch, more, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that like button. All right. I will be coming with more and more. Just stay tuned. And then also for future references, real estate talk is coming. Business talk as far as stocks and things like that is coming. Sports talk, is always going to be here. It's football season. The NFL season is now upon us. So y'all going to be getting a lot, man. Y'all going to be getting a lot. I'm going to be getting y'all these gems in more ways than one. All right. But anytime you see this background, just know I'm going to move. So just know it's probably going to be a quick podcast. But when you see me in the studio, when you see the actual setup that you always see, just know, expect a longer podcast. But, we got an hour in tonight. We'll be back. We'll definitely be back. But, I love y'all, man. I appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all staying healthy, stay blessed out here. The rejected will always be respected. Make sure y'all are staying motivated, staying blessed out here. Make sure also if you haven't checked it out, make sure you go check out my my last story that I put out about me leaving college football and the reason why I left college football. Make sure y'all go check out that. Send it to your friends, send it to your loved ones, and hopefully that helps someone else. Hopefully that helps them, believe in their dreams, go after their dreams. And, at the end of the day, y'all, I'm just here to motivate. I'm just here to spit the gems and the knowledge and the wisdom that I got and give them to y'all, man. So I appreciate y'all always tuning in. I know, I'm getting long-winded now and I'm just rambling, but I just want this video to get to 1:08. So whenever this video gets to 1:08, I'm going to shut it down. We got 30 seconds, so I can talk and ramble for another 30 seconds. But no, I'm just kidding, man. But thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for coming back. Yours truly, Mr. Wilson, was here. We came, we saw, we conquered. We spit gems, man. Make sure y'all come back for more. Stay tuned. Another live stream coming later on this week. You don't know when, but hey, just know when you get that notification. Hit that bell button. Make sure you like, subscribe, and make sure you tune in because I will be back. Yeah, so, hey, guess what? Mr. Wilson is out. Deuces. Love you. Appreciate you. See you soon.